Welcome to the deep dive. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of clinical research today.
Oh, exciting.
It is, yeah. We're going to be looking specifically at efficacy,
Good one.
and you've given me some really interesting material from VIARES,
Yes.
a website all about clinical research training.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit, it's sparked a lot of curiosity for me.
Yeah, it's definitely a topic that's I think more nuanced than a lot of people realize,
Yeah.
It's not just about whether a treatment, works.
Right.
It's really about its potential
Yeah.
under the most ideal circumstances.
Okay.
So you can almost think of it as like the best case scenario performance.
Okay. So it's like a treatment's potential in a perfect world.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's different from effectiveness, right?
Exactly.
Which is how it actually performs in the
The real world.
messy reality of everyday life. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And effectiveness takes into account all those real world variables. Like whether people actually take their medication as prescribed,
Right.
or individual differences in how a condition presents itself.
Right.
So it's really about how a treatment performs out in the wild, so to speak.
Okay. I'm starting to see the distinction there.
Good.
So why is it so crucial for us to understand efficacy? I mean, is it just a theoretical concept?
No.
Or does it have real world implications?
Oh, it has huge real world implications.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. Regulatory bodies like the FDA,
Right.
they rely heavily on efficacy data when they're, deciding whether to approve a new drug.
Mm-hmm.
So if a treatment doesn't show promise in that, ideal controlled setting,
Yeah.
it's unlikely to get the green light.
Right. So it's like the foundation upon which drug development is built.
Exactly.
No efficacy, no approval.
Precisely.
So then how is efficacy defined, formally?
Well, the formal definition of efficacy, as laid out by VIARES, really highlights the focus on ideal conditions.
Yeah.
They define it as the maximum ability of a drug or treatment to produce a result,
Okay.
regardless of dosage.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just about finding a dosage that works.
Right.
It's about understanding the absolute best the treatment can achieve.
Exactly.
Even if you crank that dosage up. Is
Yeah.
that why clinical trials are so important?
Yeah.
To create those ideal conditions?
Exactly. So think of a clinical trial as as a meticulously controlled experiment.
Okay.
So researchers are, they carefully select participants,
Mm-hmm.
they control the timing of interventions,
Right.
and even monitor environmental factors.
Wow.
It's all about, eliminating variables
Right.
to isolate the treatment's true potential.
Okay, so it's like creating this scientific bubble
Yeah.
to see what the treatment can really do.
Exactly.
So then how do we actually measure efficacy? I mean, it can't just be based on a researcher's gut feeling, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
There are, objective ways to measure efficacy.
Yeah.
And the VIARES article actually does a good job of outlining, the most common methods.
Okay.
And two of the key ones are relative risk reduction
Okay.
and absolute risk reduction.
Okay, so that's RRR
Exactly.
and ARR. Can you unpack those for us?
Absolutely. So relative risk reduction, or RRR, tells you how much a treatment reduces the risk of a negative outcome
Okay.
compared to not getting the treatment at all.
Okay.
And it's expressed as a percentage,
Okay.
which can, make it sound quite impressive sometimes.
Right, percentages.
Yeah.
Yeah, those always catch people's attention.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling there's more to the story there.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
RR doesn't tell the whole story.
Okay.
And that's where absolute risk reduction, or ARR, comes in.
Okay.
So ARR is it's more grounded in reality.
Right.
It's the actual difference in risk between the group that got the treatment
Right.
and the group that didn't.
I see. Okay. So RRR is about the relative change,
It's-
whereas ARR is about the absolute difference.
Exactly.
I have a feeling this distinction can get pretty important when you're evaluating treatments.
It's absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes a treatment might have a high RRR,
Okay.
which, makes it sound incredibly effective.
Right.
But when you actually look at the ARR,
Yeah.
the actual number of people who benefit might be much smaller. So
Yeah.
to really understand, the impact of a treatment,
Yeah.
you really need both pieces of the puzzle.
Okay, I'm starting to see how these percentages, can be a little misleading if
Right.
you don't have the full picture.
Yeah.
So let's get back to guess, the heart of the matter.
Okay.
How do RRR and ARR actually play out in a real world scenario?
Okay, so let's say a new drug is being tested to prevent heart attacks. And imagine a clinical trial where, 10 out of 100 people
Mm-hmm.
in the group that didn't receive the drug had a heart attack within a year.
Okay.
So that's a 10% risk.
Right.
But in the group that did receive the drug,
Yeah.
only 5 out of 100 people had a heart attack.
Okay.
So that's a 50% reduction in risk,
Mm-hmm.
which translates to a 50% RRR.
Okay.
Pretty impressive, right?
A 50% reduction in heart attacks. That sounds like a game changer.
It does, but
Yeah.
let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
So when we calculate the ARR,
Mm-hmm.
it's 10% the risk in the control group
Right.
minus 5% the risk in the treatment group,
Okay.
which gives us a 5% absolute risk reduction.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay, so while the relative reduction is 50%,
right.
the actual number of people spared from a heart attack
Mhm.
is smaller than that initial 50% might suggest.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a really important distinction
It is.
to keep in mind. It highlights the importance of looking beyond just those, flashy percentages
Hmm.
and really understanding the real world impact. Right. It's about looking at both RRR and ARR to get the full picture.
Absolutely.
This is reminding me that even though we're talking about ideal conditions with efficacy,
Right.
we can't forget about those messy real world factors that come into play with effectiveness.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The real world is full of variables,
Yeah.
that can impact how a treatment performs.
Right.
Things like patient adherence,
Right.
individual variations in how a condition presents, even access to healthcare.
What?
All of these factors and more can significantly impact treatment's effectiveness.
So it's like the difference between a recipe, promising like the best chocolate chip cookies ever,
Right.
and actually trying to bake them in your own kitchen.
Exactly.
Sometimes things just don't go according to plan. Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Oh, yeah.
So clinical trials, they give us a glimpse of a treatment's potential,
Mm-hmm.
but real world effectiveness is what ultimately matters
Yeah.
for patient care.
Exactly.
Now this makes me think about the FDA's role in all this. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the gatekeepers, so to speak,
Yeah.
deciding which treatments are safe and effective enough to reach the public.
Exactly. The FDA has a very high bar to clear
Yeah.
when it comes to approving new treatments.
Mm-hmm.
They carefully evaluate the efficacy data
Right.
from clinical trials.
Yeah.
Looking for strong evidence
Mhm.
that a drug does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it's not just about efficacy.
Right.
Safety is equally important.
So a drug might be like incredibly effective in treating a certain condition,
Right.
but if it comes with a laundry list of dangerous side effects, it's not going to get approved, right? It's about finding that balance,
Exactly.
between benefits and risks.
Precisely.
So the FDA has to weigh all the evidence,
Mm.
efficacy, safety, potential benefits, potential risks,
Yeah.
to ensure that any treatment they approve is both effective and safe for the public.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of clinical trials,
Yeah.
The VIARES article mentioned that they're not just like one and done events, right?
Yeah.
They go through multiple phases.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So clinical trials actually involve a multi-stage process.
Okay.
Each with its own specific goals and methods.
Okay.
So the earliest stages, often called phase I and phase II trials, are primarily focused on safety and tolerability.
Okay. So they're making sure the drug is safe for humans
Yeah.
before moving on to larger scale studies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So researchers want to see, how the drug is metabolized in the body,
Right.
what kinds of side effects it might cause,
Mhm.
and what dosage range seems safe.
Okay.
And then once a drug passes those, initial safety hurdles,
Yeah.
it can move on to phase III trials,
Okay.
which are much larger in scale
Right.
and really focus on measuring efficacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are the trials we often hear about in the news, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
The ones designed to provide robust evidence of whether a treatment, truly works.
Yeah.
Now, are there are there other phases?
Yes. So then there are phase 4 trials,
Okay.
which happen after a drug has already been approved
Okay.
and is available on the market.
So it's like ongoing monitoring.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So researchers continue to collect data on the drug's long-term effects,
Mm-hmm.
any rare side effects that might emerge,
Wow.
and how it works in different populations.
It's incredible to see how much work and research goes into bringing a new treatment to market.
It is.
And even after it's approved, the monitoring continues.
Mm-hmm.
It really highlights the commitment to patient safety.
It does, yeah.
Now, this multi-phased approach, it helps ensure that we're constantly learning and improving even after a drug is widely available.
Exactly.
This is giving me a much deeper appreciation, I think, for the complexity of clinical research.
Yeah.
It's not just about finding, a cure.
Right.
It's about rigorous testing, careful analysis, and a continuous pursuit of knowledge.
Absolutely.
Now, there's another crucial element of this process that we need to discuss.
Okay.
And that is the statistical analysis plan, or SAT.
Yeah.
It's a document that outlines exactly how the data collected in a clinical trial will be analyzed.
Right.
Now, this sounds like a vital part of the process, especially when we're talking about objective, unbiased analysis. But I have to admit, statistics aren't exactly my forte.
Okay.
So I'm hoping you can break this down for us
Right.
in a way that's easy to grasp.
Okay, so think of the SAP as the blueprint
Okay.
for making sense of all that data collected during a trial.
Okay.
So it pre-specifies the statistical methods
Right.
that will be used to analyze the data,
Mm-hmm.
how missing data will be handled,
Okay.
and what criteria will be used to determine whether the treatment is considered effective.
Okay. So it's like setting the rules of the game
Exactly.
before the data starts pouring in.
Exactly.
Okay. So then why do we need such a detailed plan? I mean, can't researchers just, figure out the best way to analyze the data once they have it all collected?
Yeah, so while they could, that approach really kind of opens the door to potential bias.
Okay.
So, imagine a researcher who's deeply invested in the success of a new drug.
Right.
They might even unconsciously be tempted to tweak the data analysis in a way that, makes the drug look more effective than it actually is.
I see. Yeah. So it's like having a referee to ensure fair play.
Exactly.
The SAP helps prevent researchers from letting their hopes or expectations influence the analysis.
Precisely.
Yeah, so by specifying the analysis plan before the data is collected, researchers are essentially, pre-committing to a specific approach, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah.
And this ensures objectivity, right? And increases the reliability of the findings.
Yeah.
This is making me realize that the SAP is it's about much more than just, crunching numbers. It's about protecting the integrity of the entire research process.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about ensuring that the data is allowed to speak for itself.
Right.
Without any manipulation or influence from those who might have a vested interest in the outcome.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so walk me through, the specifics.
Yeah.
What exactly does a statistical analysis plan include?
Sure.
What are the key elements?
So it covers a wide range of details.
Okay.
But a key element is defining the primary and secondary endpoints of the trial.
Okay.
So these are the specific outcomes that researchers are interested in measuring.
Okay.
So, for example, in a trial for a new heart medication, the primary endpoint might be, the number of heart attacks prevented.
Right.
While, secondary endpoints might include things like blood pressure.
Right.
And cholesterol level.
I see. So the endpoints are like the specific targets the researchers are aiming for.
Exactly.
And the SAP outlines how those targets will be measured and analyzed.
Exactly. Yeah. So the SAP also specifies the statistical methods that'll be used to analyze the data. Now, I won't go into the technical details of those methods.
Right.
That's a deep dive for another day.
Right.
But the important thing is that those methods are predetermined.
Right.
To ensure a consistent and unbiased approach.
So no room for improvisation.
Exactly.
Or changing the rules mid-game.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the SAP also addresses, practical issues.
Okay.
Like missing data.
Yeah.
So if some participants drop out of the trial,
right,
the SAP will specify how those missing data points will be accounted for in the analysis.
Okay, that makes sense. You can't just ignore the missing data, right? It needs to be accounted for in a way that doesn't skew the results.
Right. Yeah, and that's where the expertise of statisticians comes in.
They play a critical role in developing the SAP, ensuring that the plan is robust and addresses all the potential challenges that might arise during the analysis phase.
Exactly.
So it's like having a specialized architect.
Yeah.
Designing the blueprint for a complex building. They bring their expertise to ensure that the structure is sound and can withstand any potential stresses.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
And it highlights the importance of collaboration in clinical research. So, the researchers who designed the trial, they work closely with statisticians to create a comprehensive SAP that ensures the integrity and the reliability of the data analysis.
So it's a team effort, combining scientific expertise with statistical rigor. And this collaborative approach, I mean, it's crucial, right?
Sure.
For ensuring that the findings from clinical trials are as trustworthy and accurate as possible.
Absolutely.
This is incredible to see how much thought and planning goes into every stage of the clinical research process.
Yeah.
From the initial design of the trial to the meticulous analysis of the data.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about minimizing bias and maximizing reliability.
Exactly.
Well, I have to say, you shed a lot of light on this often overlooked aspect of clinical research.
Yeah.
The SAP, might not be the most glamorous part of the process.
Right.
But it's clearly essential for ensuring that the data tells the true story.
It is, yeah.
And it's a reminder that clinical research is a multifaceted endeavor requiring expertise from a wide range of disciplines.
Right.
To ensure that the treatments we rely on are safe, effective, and backed by solid evidence.
Precisely.
Welcome back to the deep dive. In part one, we really unpacked the concept of efficacy,
right?
And we explored the rigorous world of clinical trial, and even touched on the importance of that statistical roadmap, the SAP.
Yeah.
But as we continue our deep dive into clinical research, we need to I think address the elephant in the room.
Boy.
The possibility of things going wrong.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No treatment is completely risk-free.
Right.
And that's what brings us to a topic that often gets, I think, overshadowed.
Yeah.
By the excitement of new discoveries, and that's adverse drug reactions.
Okay. I have to admit, this is a topic that makes me a little uneasy.
Yeah.
It's it's natural to focus on the potential benefits of a new treatment, but those potential downsides can be pretty scary.
I understand.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, acknowledging and understanding adverse drug reactions is crucial, not just for researchers, but for patients as well. It's about making informed decisions, and being proactive about our health.
So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly is an adverse drug reaction? I mean, the VIARES article had a pretty technical definition.
Right.
But I'm hoping you can break it down for us.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So simply put, an adverse drug reaction is any harmful or unpleasant effect that occurs when someone takes a medication.
Yeah.
Even if it's taken exactly as prescribed.
Okay.
So it's not just about allergic reactions. It can be any negative effect.
Yeah.
ranging from mild discomfort to serious health complications.
Okay, so it's a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
From a mild headache
right.
to something far more serious.
Exactly.
That must make studying and predicting these reactions quite challenging.
It absolutely does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every individual reacts to medications differently.
Right.
And what causes a severe reaction in one person might have no effect on another.
Wow.
It's like trying to predict the weather.
Yeah.
There are so many variables at play.
That's a great analogy. It highlights the complexity of the human body and how unpredictable these reactions can be.
Yeah.
So how do researchers even begin to identify and study these reactions, especially given all the variables involved?
Well, there are several methods.
Okay.
But a key one is meticulous monitoring during clinical trials.
Okay.
So researchers keep a close eye on participants, asking about any symptoms they experience, conducting physical exams, and ordering lab tests to detect any abnormalities.
So it's a very proactive, vigilant approach. They're not just waiting for something to go wrong.
Right.
They're actively looking for any signs of trouble.
Exactly. It's about early detection and intervention.
Now, if a participant does experience an adverse reaction during a trial,
right,
the response, I imagine, depends on the severity, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
So, mild reactions might be managed with supportive care.
Okay.
Like over-the-counter medications, while more serious reactions could require medical intervention or even discontinuation of the drug.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act.
Yes.
Weighing the potential benefits of the treatment against the potential risks. And I imagine all these adverse events are carefully documented and analyzed, right?
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
That data is like gold to researchers.
Okay.
It helps them build a comprehensive safety profile for the drug.
Okay.
Understand its potential risks.
Yeah.
And make informed decisions about its development and use.
Okay, this makes me think about the different types of adverse drug reactions.
Okay.
The VIARES article mentioned a distinction between predictable and unpredictable reactions.
Yeah.
Can you shed some light on what that means?
Certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
So predictable reactions are those that we might expect based on the drug's mechanism of action.
Okay.
So, for example, a drug that lowers blood pressure might predictably cause, dizziness or lightheadedness as a side effect.
Right.
So it's kind of a known consequence related to how the drug works.
So it's like an anticipated trade-off.
Exactly.
You're accepting a certain level of discomfort in exchange for the drug's intended effect.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But then there are unpredictable reactions.
Okay.
And these are the ones that are, more concerning.
Right.
They're not related to the drug's, known pharmacology.
Okay.
And are often more idiosyncratic.
Okay.
Meaning they're unique to the individual.
Right.
So these reactions, might be due to genetic factors.
Okay.
Interactions with other medications or other factors that we don't fully understand yet.
Right. So those are like the wild card reactions, the ones that are much harder to anticipate or prevent.
Exactly.
I can see why those would raise more red flags.
They do.
Yeah.
And they highlight the importance of ongoing monitoring.
Right.
Even after a drug has been approved and is widely available.
Okay.
It's not a one and done situation.
Right. So it's not like once a drug gets the FDA's stamp of approval, everyone can breathe a sigh of relief and assume it's perfectly safe.
Not at all.
Okay.
There's a whole field dedicated to post-marketing surveillance. Of drugs.
Okay.
And it plays a critical role in ensuring patient safety in the long run.
Post-marketing surveillance.
Yeah.
So it sounds like an ongoing safety check.
It is.
Even after a drug is out in the world.
Exactly.
What does that actually involve?
So it involves a range of activities
okay.
aimed at detecting assessing and understanding adverse events that occur once a drug is, being used by a large population. So think of it as like an early warning system, constantly scanning for any signs of trouble.
And how do they gather this information? Are they relying on, patients to report any issues they experience?
That's one part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So spontaneous reports from, healthcare providers and patients are incredibly valuable.
Right.
So if someone experiences an adverse event, they can report it to the FDA or to the drug manufacturer.
So it sounds like a crowdsourced approach to safety monitoring.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not just about individual reports.
Okay.
Researchers also conduct observational studies, where they track large groups of people taking a particular drug over time.
Okay.
Looking for any patterns or trends in adverse events.
So they're looking for statistical signals that might point to a potential problem.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then there are active surveillance programs.
Okay.
Where healthcare systems proactively collect data on specific drugs or populations, actively seeking out any signs of adverse reactions.
It's impressive to see how many layers of safety monitoring are in place.
Yeah.
It's like a safety net, catching any potential issues that might not have been apparent during clinical trials.
I agree.
This is all, incredibly important information.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, it's also a bit overwhelming, knowing that any medication comes with, potential risks.
Right.
Can feel daunting.
I understand.
Yeah.
But here's the key takeaway.
Okay.
Adverse drug reactions are a reality of modern medicine. But by understanding the risks, monitoring for potential problems, and reporting any concerns, we can work together to minimize those risks.
Okay.
And ensure that patients receive the safest and most effective treatments possible.
That's a reassuring thought.
Good.
So what can we, as patients do to be more proactive about our own safety when it comes to taking medications?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So, first and foremost, be informed.
Okay.
So, read the medication guide that comes with your prescription. Don't just skim it and toss it aside.
Right.
Really take the time to understand the potential side effects.
Okay.
And what to watch out for.
Right.
And don't be afraid to ask your doctor or pharmacist questions.
Right. So open communication is key.
Absolutely.
It's our health, and we have the right to be fully informed.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when it comes to reporting adverse events, trust your gut. If you experience something, severe, persistent, or unusual, it's definitely worth reporting.
Okay, so it's not about reporting every little, ache or pain.
Right.
It's about paying attention to those signals that something might be wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, you're not just reporting it for yourself.
Right.
You're potentially helping others.
Yeah.
Who might experience the same thing.
Okay.
So your report could contribute to, a better understanding of the drug's, safty profile and potentially prevent harm to others.
That's a powerful reminder that, we're all part of this larger system, and we have a responsibility to each other to be vigilant about drug safety.
Right.
It's not just about individual health, but about collective well-being.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, well, I think we've covered a lot of ground on adverse drug reactions, from understanding what they are to how they're monitored and reported.
Right.
It's been an eye-opening discussion.
It has,
albeit a bit unsettling at times.
Okay.
But let's shift gears now and revisit that crucial element that we touched on in part one.
Yeah.
The statistical analysis plan. or SAP.
Right. Yes, the SAP.
Yeah.
It's often seen as the dry technical side of clinical research.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely vital to the integrity and reliability of the entire process.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, statistics aren't exactly my forte. So I'm hoping you can illuminate this this often overlooked aspect of clinical research. What makes the SAP so crucial, and how does it actually work?
Okay, so let's imagine you've just completed a large-scale clinical trial.
Okay.
And you've collected mountains of data.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're faced with this daunting task of making sense of it all.
Yeah.
So how do you analyze this data objectively?
Right.
Ensuring that your conclusions are accurate and unbiased.
Yeah.
And that's where the SAP comes in.
Okay, so it's like having a guidebook.
Exactly.
To navigate through that sea of data.
Exactly. Yeah. So the SAP is essentially a roadmap for the entire data analysis process.
Okay.
So it outlines precisely how the data will be analyzed, what statistical methods will be used, and how the results will be interpreted. So it's about setting the rules of the game before you even start playing.
Right, but why do we need such a detailed plan? Can't researchers just, figure out the best way to analyze the data?
Right.
Once they have it all, collected?
So while they could, that approach, really opens the door to potential bias.
Okay.
So imagine a researcher who's, deeply invested in the success of a new drug.
Right.
They might even unconsciously be tempted to tweak the data analysis in a way that makes the drug look more effective than it actually is.
Right. So it's like having a referee to ensure fair play.
Exactly.
The SAP helps prevent researchers from letting their hopes or expectations influence the analysis.
Precisely.
Okay. So by specifying the analysis plan before the data is collected, researchers are essentially pre-committing to a specific approach.
Exactly.
Regardless of the outcome.
Right.
And this ensures objectivity, right? And it increases the reliability of the findings.
Yeah.
This is making me realize that the SAP is about much more than just, crunching numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's about protecting the integrity of the entire research process.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Okay, so walk me through the specifics.
Okay.
What exactly does a statistical analysis plan include?
Right.
What are the key elements?
So it covers a wide range of details.
Okay.
But a key element is defining the primary and secondary endpoints of the trial.
Okay, so what are endpoints?
Right. So these are the specific outcomes that researchers are interested in measuring.
Okay.
So, for example, in a trial for a new heart medication, the primary endpoint might be the number of heart attacks prevented.
Okay.
While secondary endpoints might include things like blood pressure.
Right.
And cholesterol levels.
I see. So the endpoints are the specific targets the researchers are aiming for.
Exactly.
And the SAP outlines how those targets will be measured.
Exactly.
And analyzed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So the SAP also specifies the statistical methods that will be used to analyze the data.
Okay.
Now, I won't go into the technical details of those methods.
Yeah.
That's a deep dive for another day.
Another day, right?
But the important thing is that those methods are predetermined.
Right.
To ensure a consistent and unbiased approach.
So no room for improvisation.
Exactly.
Or changing the rules mid-game.
Precisely.
Right.
And the SAP also addresses practical issues.
Okay.
Like missing data.
Okay, right.
So if some participants, drop out of the trial, the SAP will specify how those missing data points will be accounted for in the analysis.
Right. You can't just ignore the the missing data.
Right.
It needs to be accounted for in a way that doesn't skew the results.
Right. Exactly.
And that's where the expertise, I imagine, of statisticians comes in.
Exactly.
They play a critical role in developing the SAP, ensuring that the plan is robust.
Yeah.
And addresses all the potential challenges that might arise during the analysis phase.
Exactly.
It's like having a specialized architect.
Yeah.
Designing the blueprint for a complex building. They bring their expertise to ensure that the structure is sound and can withstand any potential stress.
That's a great analogy.
Right, and it highlights the importance of collaboration. In clinical research.
Yeah.
So the researchers who design the trial, they work closely with statisticians.
Exactly.
To create this comprehensive SAP that ensures the integrity and the reliability of the data analysis. So it's really a team effort.
Absolutely.
Combining scientific expertise with statistical rigor.
Exactly.
And this collaborative approach, I mean, it's crucial, right, for ensuring that the findings from clinical trials are as trustworthy and accurate as possible.
Absolutely.
It's incredible to see how much thought and planning goes into every stage of the clinical research process, from the initial design of the trial to the meticulous analysis of the data. That it's all about minimizing bias and maximizing reliability.
Exactly.
Well, you've shed a lot of light on this often overlooked aspect of clinical research. The SAP might not be the most glamorous part of the process, but it's clearly essential for ensuring that the data tells the true story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it's a reminder that clinical research is a multifaceted endeavor.
Absolutely.
Requiring expertise from a wide range of disciplines to ensure that the treatments we rely on are safe, are effective, and backed by solid evidence.
Precisely.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've journeyed through the intricate world of efficacy and navigated the complex landscape of clinical trials. We even delved into the crucial but often overlooked realm of adverse drug reactions and the statistical analysis plan.
Yeah, it's been quite the exploration, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah, we've peeled back the layers, so to speak, to reveal the inner workings of this fascinating field.
But now I'm eager to zoom out a little bit and consider the bigger picture. We've focused on a lot of details. But what does it all mean? How does clinical research, with all its complexities and challenges, how does it actually impact our lives and the world around us?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one that I think is often overlooked, in all the excitement of new discoveries and scientific breakthroughs.
Right.
But at its heart, clinical research is about more than just, data and statistics.
Right.
It's about improving human health and well-being.
So it's about connecting those dots, between the laboratory and real life experiences.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important takeaways, from our deep dive is that clinical research is a continuous process.
Right.
It's not about finding a magic bullet and calling it a day. It's about constantly questioning, exploring, and seeking to improve our understanding of health and disease.
I completely agree. Yeah.
So it's like an ongoing conversation.
Yes.
Always, seeking deeper insights and better solutions.
Precisely.
And that constant evolution. I mean, it's driven by a deep commitment to what we call evidence-based medicine. Now that's a phrase we hear a lot these days.
It is.
But what does it really mean in the context of clinical research?
So it means that healthcare decisions,
from
the treatments we prescribe, to the public health policies we implement should be grounded in the best available evidence. Not on anecdotes, gut feelings, or the latest trends.
So it's about moving away from those, I heard this works, recommendations, and really basing decisions on solid, reliable data.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that data, the foundation of evidence-based medicine, it comes from the rigorous world of clinical research.
Exactly.
Right. It's like a symbiotic relationship.
That is.
Research provides the evidence, and evidence-based medicine uses that evidence to guide healthcare decisions.
Exactly. It's like a feedback loop.
Right.
Constantly refining our understanding. And improving patient care.
So how does this all, translate to the patient experience?
Right.
What are the tangible ways that clinical research actually impacts our lives?
So for one, it leads to the development of new and innovative treatments. Think about all the groundbreaking therapies that have emerged from clinical trials. Life-saving cancer drugs, revolutionary gene therapies, and medications that effectively manage, chronic conditions that once, really, really impacted quality of life.
It's amazing to see how far we've come.
It is.
In just a few decades.
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to the dedication and hard work of researchers and clinicians.
It truly is, yeah.
But it's not just about new treatments, right?
Right.
Clinical research also helps us, refine existing treatments, making them safer, more effective, better tailored to individual needs.
Right. Sometimes it's about, identifying new uses for existing medications or finding ways to minimize side effects.
So it's about continually pushing the boundaries.
Exactly.
Seeking those, incremental improvements that ultimately make a huge difference in patient care.
Exactly. And that's something we can all celebrate.
Well, let's be realistic for a moment.
Okay.
Clinical research, like any human endeavor, it's not perfect.
Right.
It faces challenges, limitations, and ethical considerations.
Of course, yeah. It's important to acknowledge those challenges.
Yeah.
One significant hurdle is recruitment.
Okay.
Finding enough participants for clinical trials, especially for rare diseases or specific populations, can be incredibly difficult.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, participating in a clinical trial is a big commitment.
It is.
And not everyone is willing or able to do so.
Right, and there are often strict eligibility criteria.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more challenging to find the right people for each study.
And I imagine funding is always a concern.
Absolutely.
These trials are complex.
Yeah.
They're resource intensive.
Absolutely.
Right.
Funding is a constant challenge.
Yeah.
And there's never enough to go around.
Right.
So researchers are often competing for limited resources.
Right.
Which can slow down progress.
Yeah, it sounds like a constant balancing act.
It is.
Navigating scientific ambition with practical constraints.
It is, but despite these challenges, clinical research is undeniably essential.
Right.
It's the engine that drives progress.
Right.
In healthcare, leading to better treatments, improved outcomes, and a deeper understanding of the human body.
Yeah, and it's something we all have a stake in, right? Whether we're patients, healthcare providers, or simply members of society, we all benefit from the advancements that emerge from this field.
Precisely, and that brings up an important point.
Okay.
What can we as individuals do to support clinical research?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the big picture, but I'm curious about those small everyday actions that can make a difference.
So one simple but powerful thing is to spread awareness.
Okay.
Talk to your friends and family about the importance of clinical research. encourage them to consider participating, if they're eligible.
Right.
You never know who might be interested.
Yeah.
Or who might benefit from, a new treatment being studied.
So it's about being, informed advocates.
Exactly.
Sharing what we've learned
Yeah.
and encouraging others to get involved.
Exactly.
And we can also, support organizations that fund clinical research. I mean, every contribution, no matter how small, it helps advance the field, right? And brings us closer to finding solutions for the health challenges we face.
Absolutely. And of course, if you're eligible and willing, participating in a clinical trial yourself is the most direct way,
right,
to contribute to the advancement of medical knowledge.
This deep dive has truly been an eye-opening experience for me.
It has, yeah.
I've gained a newfound appreciation for the complexity, the dedication, and the sheer determination that drives clinical research.
Yeah.
It's a field that often operates, behind the scenes, but its impact is felt, I think, in every corner of our world.
It is, yeah. It has been a fascinating journey, hasn't it?
It has,
and it's a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge, the quest for better solutions is a never-ending story.
Right.
We're always striving for better treatments, for better outcomes, and for a deeper understanding of the human body.
And that relentless pursuit of progress is what I think makes this field so inspiring.
It is, yeah.
It's a testament to the human spirit, our unwavering commitment to improving lives.
Absolutely.
And easing suffering. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of clinical research.
Yes, thank you.
I hope you've come away with a deeper understanding of this complex, fascinating, and ultimately hopeful field.
It is.
We encourage you to continue exploring, to stay curious, and to engage in those conversations that drive progress. The more we understand about clinical research, the more empowered we are, I think, to make informed decisions about our health and the future of healthcare.
Absolutely.
So keep those brains buzzing.
Yes.
Keep asking those questions, and we'll see you back here soon for another deep dive into the world of knowledge and discovery.
Okay.
Until then, take care.
Take care.